Hey guys, I'm the Metal Jesus, and I'm ashamed to admit that I have not been giving enough love recently on my channel to big box PC games. Well, that changes today, because today we are going to talk about one of my favorites from the early 90s and maybe into the 2000s a bit, and that is LucasArts. They created some of the best adventure games I think ever made, and also a couple other ones that we're going to highlight as well. Now I have 18 complete in-box games that I want to show. It's not everything that they put out, but I have all the ones that were really important to me, and there's some definite classics there. Let's take a look. Let's start this off with a classic. That is The Secret of Monkey Island. This game was released in 1990, and this is packed full of some pretty cool stuff. This is the reason why I collect big box PC games, because they come with all this really cool stuff. Let's start off here with something pretty cool. This is the copy protection called Dial a Pirate. You notice that there is this wheel that you can create different faces with. That's how you would validate that you actually owned a copy of the game. And of course, this is an old game, so it came on floppy disks, 4 of them right here. Also a little instruction manual, some shortcut keys, but down here is where you could send in for the other format of diskette that you need, whether you had a 3.5 or a 5 1/4 drive. Also buried in here is an advertisement to upgrade your PC speaker to a new ad-lib sound card. That was kind of a big deal back then. Now check this out. This is the coolest part of the whole thing. It comes with Volume 1 of The Adventurer. Now this was LucasArts, or Lucasfilm at the time. This was their magazine / catalog. And as far as I know, this was the only volume that came in a full-size newspaper. This was pretty cool for the time. Lots of good information about their games, what's coming out, what just came out. This is pretty awesome. I am a huge fan of the Monkey Island series, so of course I had to get the second game, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. Love that cover. Inside the box, you have some goodies, including the copyright wheel. That was kind of a thing for them for a while. Here are the floppy disks, and you'll notice that there are some blank ones in there, or I suspect those are probably copied. I got this used, and so not exactly sure what is on those disks, but I suspect it's just in case you have the other size of drive. Here is the third game in the series, called The Curse of Monkey Island. Now this came out in 1997, and it was the first one to support Windows. Also, what was really interesting about this one is that they changed the art style a bit to where now it's using cel-shaded graphics, which is pretty cool at the time. Here is another classic. This is the second game in the Maniac Mansion series, called The Day of the Tentacle. Another beloved series is Salmon Max Hit the Road. Now, I think this might be a second release of this game because they advertise this as the CD-ROM full talkie version. It's cool because it comes with a manual / coloring guide, which is kind of neat. Also, here is the Adventurer catalog, full of all sorts of games and Star Wars trinkets and posters and just pretty much everything LucasArts. Also, the CD came housed in this interesting little paper booklet thing. It's kind of weird, but it's cool. One of my all-time favorite adventure games is Full Throttle. This is a heavy metal adventure by Tim Schafer. Tim Schafer also made Brutal Legend. This is such a funny game, has an amazing soundtrack. It's just the perfect length. I actually did a full review on my channel, so I'll link to it up in the corner. But man, Full Throttle is so awesome. If you haven't played it, you definitely should. I really wish they'd make a sequel. They were going to for a while. Another classic that just got recently remastered is Grim Fandango. This was a game that didn't sell very well when it first came out because most people were playing first-person shooters, but this is considered a masterpiece, and it's so cool to have it in my collection. Here's a game that not a lot of people remember, although if you played it like me, it really struck a chord with you, and that was The Dig. What was cool about this is that it was a collaboration with Steven Spielberg, and it's a more of a serious science fiction adventure game. Now, I would say it's not perfect, but it's definitely pretty cool. And this packaging really stood out. This gatefold that opens up and the, I don't know what they call it, rainbow effect, but again, The Dig was definitely unique for the time. They did dabble a bit in flight simulators, and here's a really popular one. It's called Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe. Luftwaffe? It's a German word. I apologize if I'm butchering that. But this was a really cool game at the time. It's a World War II flight simulator. Really well done, great graphics, and it comes with this massive manual. This is like 220 pages long. It teaches you how to play the game. It teaches you how to fly. It gives you history on all of the vehicles. Again, just so much detail and so much quality. This is a really cool game. And like many of the games at the time, it came with a code wheel that functioned as your copy protection. Now, you may have noticed that this game actually was labeled as Lucasfilm Games. That's because around 1990, 1991, they changed from that name to LucasArts. So sometimes you see both. And yes, they did dabble in first-person shooters. This is a really cool Western first-person shooter called Outlaws. Not a lot of people know about this game. It's kind of a hidden gem. Yes, I'm gonna say it. It's a bit of a hidden gem. If you've played it, you know how much fun this game is. Tons of personality. And again, not many people know about it. One of the fun things for me as a collector is that sometimes I buy these games used and they have cheat codes that are printed out from the previous owner in the box. How cool is that? And speaking of first-person shooters, they made one of the greatest Star Wars games of the 90s, and that is Dark Forces. This is the Mac version here. I just happened to find that version, but this came out on all sorts of systems. This was amazing when it first came out. This was one of my favorite Star Wars games in the 90s. So cool, loved it. They followed up the game 2 years later in 1997 with Star Wars Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. This is a really good game. Now for this one, they changed the game engine over to Windows and they supported 3D acceleration, which was a big deal at the time. This version of the game has some really cool little goodies inside the box. Now you have the game, of course, but you also have this desk calendar. I don't know if anybody actually used it, but it's kind of cool today to be able to see what games are out from LucasArts. You can sit that on your desk, I guess. Here is the instruction manual. Check out those actors, and that looks like some really bad full motion video, doesn't it? Of course, we have the LucasArts catalog, where you can see all the games that are coming out or already out, and you can order now. But the best part is that it came with Mysteries of the Sith, which was a extra campaign plus some multiplayer maps. This was a bit of a surprise at the time. This is Star Wars Rebel Assault. This is a full motion video game. At a time when most full motion video games were crap, this one was actually good. And I remember at the time being kind of blown away by it. Now, this is the PC version here, obviously. It also came out on the Sega CD and the 3DO. Although I haven't played either of those versions, so I can't tell you if they're any good or not. But I do remember this one being a lot of fun. The first game was a smash hit, so of course they followed up with Rebel Assault 2, The Hidden Empire. Now, I don't remember much about this game other than this amazing box cover. It reminds me of the classic Star Wars posters. They did a really good job on that. This game is also available on the PlayStation. Again, I don't remember much about it. I mentioned flight simulators earlier. Well, they brought that same know-how and technology over to the Star Wars universe. Here is X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Now, I'll have to admit I haven't played this particular game a lot. And the reason for that is because I like playing as the bad guys. And I played a ton of this game. Oh my God, TIE Fighter. Oh, dude. Okay. This game was amazing. This game was so cool. I loved it so much. It is a TIE Fighter simulator. And oh my God, just so much fun to play this game and just get sucked into the story and just the flight mechanics, everything about it I absolutely love. Frankly, I'd love to see somebody buy this and remake it for modern consoles. Dude, dream come true. And as an extra bonus here, I do have Defender of the Empire, which was the expansion or add-on. This is essentially like DLC today, although this is much cooler because it comes with a box, comes with the manuals, comes with all the little stuff. And I don't know, I prefer it, man. This is what I live for right here. This right here. Here's a bit of an oddity. This is called Star Wars Yoda Stories. Now, this was a 1997 adventure game, and this is kind of a weird little thing because back in the day when Windows was new, there were a lot of these little time wasters that people would release, and hopefully you play them kind of casually, and that's what this was. What was cool about this is that it was randomly generated each and every time you played it. There's also a Game Boy Color version if you can find it. That's a quick look at my LucasArts big box collection. Now, I do have their games on other systems like the PlayStation 2. I think I have one like on the NES and things like that, but I mostly wanted to focus on the big box games here. And I'm also missing some heavy hitters, to be honest. I'd love to get a copy of the original Maniac Mansion. Also, Loom is a total classic. That one can be kind of pricey depending on the version that you get. Also, I was really surprised. I thought I had some of the Indiana Jones games in my collection. I don't know what happened to them. Like some of my stuff, I used to move a lot and it got thrown away. Sucks. So, anywho, what do you guys think of this video? Was it pretty cool, kind of focusing just on one company like this? I'd love to do it for, say, like Activision, Interplay. Also, it'd be kind of cool to focus on some of the companies that people have forgotten about, like Gremlin. Gremlin was a company that put out some really interesting PC games, so let me know down in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching my channel, and thank you for subscribing, and take care. I should probably mention that a lot of these games are playable today fairly easily, actually. There's a site called GOG.com, which takes old games like this and updates them to run on modern versions of Windows and Mac. Sometimes you can also find them remastered on your phone. So I'll put links in the description below.